I was worried you blow my reputation, but I figured it's not on me. Yeah. The way you're making me shiver, your hands on myself, I keep pulling the trigger.
It's like you turn the camera on and I forget how to talk. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In case you didn't know, my name is Lauren Salco and I'm an adult living with type 1 diabetes. I'm also a professional skier. So I decided to make this video to talk about Dexcom. First of all, I'd like to say this video is not sponsored by anybody. Nobody asked me to make this video. I do not have a professional relationship with Dexcom. That being said, I'm going to talk about my insulin pump too, and I do have a professional relationship with them. If you'd like to read more, head on over to my website or my blog, and you can learn more about that. So, first of all, I currently use the Dexcom G6, but I have used many different Dexcom systems in the past, including the G5, the G4, 7 Plus. You know, I've run the gamut, but now I'm currently using the Dexcom G6, and that's connected to my t:slim insulin pump with Basal IQ loaded onto the pump, and I can do a separate video about Basal IQ if that's something people are interested in. Just let me know. But today I want to talk about the difference between Dexcom G5 and G6, and I'm going to show you how to apply both of them and give you some more information. So first of all, the difference between Dexcom G5 and G6 is that the G6 doesn't require any calibration. It also has a different applicator and a different transmitter and a different sensor. G5 and G4 had the same applicator and a different transmitter. So this is the package, I don't know if you can see it, that the Dexcom G5 would come in. And this is the Dexcom G5 transmitter. The G4 was actually originally a little bit slimmer, but when Dexcom moved from the G4 to the G5, instead of all the calculations from raw data occurring in the receiver or phone app or whatever you're using to receive data, it now occurs in the transmitter, which makes it just a little thicker than in the G4. First generation G4 was this size, but then they came out with a slimmer profile. And then when we get to G6, this is the applicator and sensor all in one for the G6. G6 does not require calibration unless your readings vary significantly from what you're getting from your traditional blood glucose meter. And this is the G6 transmitter. It's shaped kind of differently. The way it fits into the transmitter is different. It's also substantially thinner. I don't know if you can see exactly how much thinner. I can try and include a picture of them. I'll post a picture right here. And then the only other difference is receivers. So both the Dexcom G5 and the G6 can go directly to your compatible iPhone. I run an iPhone X, so both of them can go directly to my iPhone. Before I loaded the new Basal IQ software, my t:slim, my G5 would go directly to my t:slim. But I switched over to G6. I think I switched over to G6 sometime in the middle of July, so it's been a good couple months now where I should be able to give an honest review, I think. So now my pump can't receive any data from my Dexcom G5 because it has the software for G6. On top of that, it has Basal IQ. Again, if you have questions about Basal IQ, I can totally go into that later. The other differences were the standalone receivers. So this is the Dexcom G6 receiver. Mine still has the plastic on it because I don't really use it like at all. So I just actually pulled it out of the box for this. But it's a different shape than the original G5 receiver. This is the original G5 receiver. Now, just before the G6 launched, some people did receive this. This one's called Scout, I believe, is the name of this receiver. And so if you have one of these with your G5, you can actually do a software update from home so that it's compatible with G6. You just have to call Dexcom and get a code so that you're able to do that. The transition process from G5 to G6 should be fairly simple, although I will say that I've heard of a couple people who were ordering sensors at different times and transmitters because they were prolonging the use of their sensor even though it wasn't FDA approved. So it was a little difficult for them to sync it all up. But pretty much when you're eligible for a new receiver, you can switch over to G6. Or if you have the Scout receiver, you can switch over to G6. So pretty much the FDA requires that you have a receiver, even though you might use your phone. So you can't, just because you order transmitters every 6 months, most people do because they come in packs of 2, it doesn't mean that you're eligible to upgrade to G6. I was super lucky because I was eligible to upgrade to G6 like fairly early in the process. So I guess what we'll get into now is putting on the sensors. So I'm gonna put on a G5 sensor first because it was the previous model. I don't use G5 anymore, and I'm actually not gonna compare readings between the two because that's been done before. There's so many articles online. Beyond Type 1, Dana Howe wrote an amazing article about the comparison between the two. So I'm not gonna go with that, but I will explain the difference for insertion. So FYI, I do a sports bra on, so you'll probably see this. Both Dexcom G5 and G6 are approved to be placed on the abdomen for adults 18 and older, and I believe for children, it can be placed like on the upper butt, love handle area. A lot of people put them on their arms, but that's not a FDA approved location. That doesn't really say much about its accuracy. It just means that when Dexcom submitted to the FDA for approval, they only submitted certain sites, and that wasn't one of them. So today we're gonna stick to our abdomen because that's what's FDA approved. So the first step that I normally do is I take my transmitter, and this, I guess we'll start with, I'll explain that both of these start with some of the same steps. But pretty much, you clean the back of the transmitter with an alcohol swab. So or you can just use rubbing alcohol if you have a big bottle, but I use swabs. So I clean both the backs of the transmitters. This is just to remove any residue and make sure that these contact points in the back of the transmitter are able to connect to the sensor. So clean them off with alcohol, make sure it's nice. And we'll let those dry in a clean area while we put on the sensor. So most people either use something called IV prep or skin tack or alcohol when they are putting on their sensor. So this is IV prep. Obviously, I think it's probably backwards for you guys. Also, can't focus that closely. IV prep is it's an antiseptic wipe that's also a little tacky and helps the transmitter to adhere. But people also use alcohol. I actually don't do either, and obviously I'm not a doctor and I'm not giving any medical advice, so talk to your doctor before you do this. But I use soap to clean my body before I put a transmitter on or a sensor on, because alcohol really dries out my skin, and not only does it not stick properly, but it also it gets very irritated under there. So I actually use Honey I Wash the Kids most of the time, which is from Lush. I love Lush. They're a super responsible company, and I love that their products are all natural and have great stuff in them. And sometimes I also use Fresh Pharmacy, which is actually a face cleanser from Lush. It's also just super calm, both of these. So this one has an amazing scent. This one doesn't really smell like anything at all, but they're super calming and soothing and gentle. So today I'm gonna use Honey I Wash the Kids, and I'm gonna put the Dexcom G5 on this side of my abdomen. I'll put the G6 here. Oh, you can't even see. On this side of my abdomen, on this side of my abdomen, I'm gonna put the G6. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to wash my site. So since I'm not using alcohol, again, talk to your healthcare provider. I'm just gonna, get it a little wet, use my soap on it, wash it really nicely. Sometimes I just, apply right after I get out of the shower, but today the timing didn't work out. So obviously after I wash it thoroughly, I need to make sure that it also dries. That is one benefit of alcohol, is that it dries significantly quicker than water, obviously. So I will let that dry. So don't touch it afterwards and let it dry. So now I'm gonna take the sensor out of the packaging. So it opens really simply, you just open it from the top. It's got a couple different parts. First of all, side note, I always keep the packaging, whether it's a G5, G6, whatever I'm using, until I'm done with the sensor. Because if you have to call Dexcom, they are amazing. They have great customer support, and they will replace sensors that don't last the full time frame. So you want to make sure that you save it so that you know, if you have to call, they're gonna ask the lot number, you can give them the information they need to try and figure out what the problem was and make sure that they have it noted for FDA purposes, you know, reporting, everything, whatever they need. So this is the sensor applicator. This is a safety, so I'm gonna take that off in a couple minutes here. And then this piece, keep it on because it's what helps to connect your transmitter to the sensor. So what I'm gonna do is you remove these tabs. These are just paper, they cover the adhesive. The needle is gonna come out right here along with the filament that is used to measure blood glucose. So, fun fact, it actually is measuring interstitial fluid, which correlates very well with actual blood sugar. So, the next step is I'm gonna take it and place it. I like to place it horizontally on my stomach. I think that's what's recommended, but anyways, again, talk to your healthcare practitioner, but this is where I put it. So it's dry here now, and I'm going to place it on my stomach. Once it's placed on my stomach, I give it a good rub. Hopefully you can see it. Give it a good rub, just make sure that it's fully on there. And then I take off this plastic piece here. So hopefully you can kind of get a little bit of a better angle here. So now that it's on, I'm just gonna really make sure that it's on good. I've removed my safety, you know, which was right here. And the next thing to do is you just push this plunger in. So I pinch up skin with the G5, I actually don't with the G6. So I pinch up the skin, just insert it all the way. And then you pull up on this plastic ring, which removes the needle, leaves the filament in your skin. And then you can push right here and remove the applicator. So then the last step for the insertion process is actually just to take your clean transmitter, you insert the front of it here, and use this little tab to snap it in. And then you twist it and it removes and it comes out like super easily. Now that is on. And the next step would be to use your phone app or whatever it is that you're connecting it to and insert information. So you've already inserted your transmitter information. So this is the screen that you're gonna get on the G5 mobile app, hopefully. Ooh, there we go, once you're inserted. So it's already connected to my transmitter. Originally, it just walks you step by step through the process. Super simple. So then you're just gonna click Start 2-hour warm-up, and these orange pieces will actually get darker as it goes around, this little pizza here. And in about 2 hours, it will be ready to use, and you will have to input 2 blood glucose readings from your regular blood glucose monitoring kit, and it will start reading. So now that we're done inserting the G5, we're gonna move on to the G6. So I'm gonna fast forward, I'm gonna wash this side of my body, but you don't need to watch that. So I'm gonna cut now directly to me getting ready to insert. So now I'm ready to insert my G6. So I've washed the area, again, talk to your healthcare provider about what you should use, and I'm ready to insert my G6. G6 is actually super simple to use. So if you go into the G6 app, it walks you through how to do it, but I'm gonna walk you through here, just join this video. So this is the G6. The interesting thing about the G6 is it comes in a much bigger packaging. It can be a little bit more annoying to travel, if I'm being honest, because it's a bit bulkier, but other than that, you know, it's so much nicer than the G5 in my opinion. So the cool thing is on the back of your G6, hopefully I can get this to focus because this is really neat. Yeah, it's got a code and a QR code. So what you're gonna do is I normally take my app, so again with the iPhone app. So let me open it up here. So I'm in my iPhone app. I don't currently have a sensor going, obviously, so it says new sensor, so I'm going to click new sensor. And then it asks me for the code, so I can either input it manually. So just a side note, even though my G6 connects to my pump, I normally start it on my phone, and then once it's going, I tell my pump to start it up. It's just what works for me. Since all the computations are done in the transmitter, you can easily switch, you can add it to another device without another 2-hour warming up period, which is like super nice. So you can either enter the code that I showed you earlier manually, or you can do it by taking a picture of the QR code. So I'm going to take a picture of the QR code right here. So now that I take off the paper backing, and now that the paper backing is removed, you can see this is where the needle is going to come out. This is the sticky adhesive that's going to go on my body. So I'm going to go ahead and move the camera now. So again, this is the applicator. I'm just going to take it to that area that I previously cleaned. I'm trying not to touch it. And I'm actually going to place this one about here. So I just set it down right there on my skin. And then I remove this little applicator bit. Let me turn so you can see. So this is the safety. So you just break it off, down the floor. So here's the safety. So you've removed your safety, and you just push this orange button and it's just gonna automatically insert. So if you're someone that's afraid of needles or apprehensive, this is significantly easier. So you just press the button, that noise happens, and it goes in, and then you just remove this. And the needle is fully enclosed in here. You never even have to see it, which is super nice. So now that this one is in, see, it's a different shape slightly. The adhesive is a little different than on the G5. You're gonna put your transmitter in. So with this transmitter, all you really do is you take the end of it, you've already cleaned it with alcohol, and you insert the tip just into this end, and then you just, you can see, I'm trying to move so you can. So you insert the end here, and then you just push it down. Yep, super simple. Make sure you hear the click. It's in there. I give it a good rub. Make sure it's fully on there. Now I go back to my iPhone app here. Let me open it. And I've already inserted, so I'm just gonna click next. And then I'm gonna click start sensor. And it started. So I'm not gonna get readings for the next 2 hours. It just says sensor warm up, and then it gives the amount of time it's gonna be until it's ready. And then over here, just like on the G5 app, mobile app, if you're familiar with it, this is your share. So these are the people I'm sharing with. Green means we're going good. It's all set. So it's all set. Now we just have to wait for it to warm up. So I know that there have been a lot of people. There's a lot of people that are always asking, how do you keep sensors on? So I don't put anything on it until it starts to fall off. I don't immediately start with a pad for a grip. I know a lot of people that use off-site FlexiFix, people that use Tegaderm, all different things. So for me, mine stick fairly well. So I wait, unless it's super sweaty or I'm doing something super athletic, but I wait to put anything over it until it starts to fall off. And then I found for me that grips work really well. Not the original one, actually. I've been using the Power X recently. So these are grip Power X's that come in so many awesome things. Like this one, hopefully you can see, is flamingos and flowers, and these are penguins. I've also been using silly patches, which I really like, and they come in cool colors too. This is a mandala, and this is a hamsa. The cool thing about the silly patches is this center part that's already pre-cut comes with it, so you can put that over the transmitter, which I think is super cute and I really like. I will say that these don't stay on super great in the water. They normally only last like one shower for me, but I had the grips, the original material, kind of like rock tape or just kinesiology tape or KT tape, it starts to peel up a little. It's also super harsh on my skin, and I have super fair and sensitive skin, so I try to stay away from that. I have found that using the IV prep just doesn't really work for me. It doesn't make it stick that much, if any, better, and so I don't end up using it. If you have any questions or anything about Dexcom G5, G6, my personal experiences, I'd be happy to answer them. Obviously, I don't work for Dexcom, I don't work for the FDA, I'm not a doctor, and I can't give you any actual medical advice, but as a user of the technology, I definitely have some knowledge about it. I have been loving my Dexcom G6. So far, it's been just as accurate as the G5 for me. I'm loving the calibration and the integration with my Tandem T-Slim pump with Basal IQ. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I think I'll be making some more diabetes videos soon. So if you have any suggestions, feel free to send me a DM. check me out on Instagram, Facebook, drop a comment below, and I would be happy to do it. Have a great week, guys.